Hey folks, Vince Burch here from Previews World. Once again, coming to you live via satellite from Baltimore Comic-Con. This guy right here next to me, he's coming out of the gate with the new book called Old Man Jack from Boom Studios. His name is Anthony Burch.
Nice
What's
to meet
up,
you.
brother?
Nice to meet you.
Man, here you are. I mean, like, you were going back to the 80s in terms of how familiar, people are with Kurt Russell playing the part.
Yeah.
And, there's like this story you got about how you and Carpenter, right, just happened to like cross past two ships in the night. You know? And because of that incident, that's how this book. Give the audience out there a breakdown of how this thing got off the ground.
Yeah, John was at a bookstore signing the Big Trouble in Little China art book, and Big Trouble in Little China is like basically the movie that made me who I am when I saw it when I was a kid. And I wrote a video game called Borderlands 2, and I knew from Twitter that he liked it, so I was like, hey, what's going on? Can you sign this? Also, I wrote Borderlands 2. I heard you like that. And he was like, oh, I'm a fan. I went, no, I'm a fan, and started freaking out. And then I guess when it came time to do Old Man Jack, he and Sandy thought of me. But yeah, he's a super, super cool guy.
So basically, I mean, the idea you got, I mean, we're going from an iconic, film in the 80s to this new story where, he's like in his 60s, I think it is, right? Like, how do we make the jump from that to light speed? Like, what basically transpired in between the two times? Like, what was the idea of that?
Basically, the idea was Jack is always really fun when he's an outsider. Like, Jack is not actually the hero of Big Trouble in Little China. Wang is the movie.
Right.
Jack's just kind of around and, like, is an idiot and is your vehicle to understanding it. So we thought, what's the most horrifying thing that could happen that Jack could be witness to and have to sort of get his way out of? And we thought, oh, the end of the world. Like, what if instead of taking him on a Raiders of the Lost Ark kind of adventure, we took him on a Mad Max apocalyptic adventure? So hell comes to Earth. Ching Dai, the demon god of the East, basically combines all of the hells of the underworld with the hells with Earth, essentially. And Jack is the only person left who's not corrupted by the hells, and he has to get to Chinatown and see if he can undo every horrible thing that happened, because secretly it's actually kind of his fault in the first place.
Sleep deprivation, one too many Red Bulls. What chemistry brings about these delusions now that you're working into these pages, man? What's the inspiration? Like the artist that you're working with now?
Yes.
How do you guys get along?
Oh, I mean, we actually haven't talked all that much, but he's incredible. I'm a huge fan of Jorge. Jorge Corona, he did the art, and he did the most perfect design of Old Man Jack, I think, imaginable. He's like really sympathetic and kind of sad. Like, he's clearly in this denial about how old he is and how cool he is. He still thinks he's super relevant and on top of it, but also he still kind of is and kind of funny and really an interesting character just from a purely visual perspective. Basically, I found out that I can half-ass anything I want to do in the writing because Jorge's art will save me because he's great.
So that's literally the safety net, right?
Exactly.
So if we had to pick one particular scene in the book that might act as a really good trailer, the one that you said, that's what we want, what would it be? Give me an Easter egg here to work with.
So in the first issue, Jack has to go to the to basically into hell to save a damsel that contacted him on his CB radio, even though it's disconnected. And he lands in the hell of minor inconveniences, and there's a demon who basically says, hey, you want to get some water? You look thirsty. And he tries to use an ice machine, and there's no ice, and his water's going to be lukewarm. And there's a guy who talks to a waiter, and the waiter says, hey, enjoy your meal. And the guy says, you too. And basically, Jack finds out that this hell is for namby-pamby millennials, and it's completely powerless. It has no power over him whatsoever. And he gets out of the hell by basically explaining that, he wipes his nose by using his hand, and the demon who's in charge of that thinks that's so gross he just explodes and dies, and Jack gets out scot-free without actually doing anything clever because Jack doesn't do clever things.
Not exactly a book for the kids, right? Not something you want to show preschoolers, but funny nonetheless, right? If you're into it, I mean, that sounds great, man. I mean, as far as, this being a legacy book, the fact that we got a new generation of Jack fans that are definitely going to come out. Folks, Old Man Jack #1 is going to be coming out within the week. Is it already out?
And that came out on Wednesday.
It's already out. Okay, it's already out. It's going to be coming from Boom Studios. You definitely want to check it out. Anthony Burch, one more time, man. Thank you, brother.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Folks, make sure you look for it, all right? And keep the faith and keep reading comics.